Hello students, my name is Gurinder Pal Singh. Topic of today's video is states of matter. In this lesson, you will learn about the states of matter. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify and compare these states of matter. So let's start with a riddle. You have to tell me the name of something that can be poured but can also be broken. It can float but it can also melt. Just think about this, students, what this substance can be. What kind of super substance can do all of these things? So students, answer to my this riddle is water. For instance, water is liquid when melted, it's solid when frozen into ice, and it's a gas when boiled to make a steam. On the basis of the differences in the physical characteristics of the particles of matter, it exists in three main states, that is solids, liquids, and gases. First of all, we will discuss about solids. Imagine being in a crowded room where nobody can move. Students, concentrate what I am saying. Solids are made up of particles like this. Let's talk about the characteristics of solids. First point is, a solid has a definite volume and a definite shape, which means the intermolecular forces of attraction is very strong. The molecules are strongly held and arranged in order. Second point is, a solid is rigid and cannot be compressed easily, which means molecules are closely spaced and the intermolecular separation is very small, which cannot be reduced further. Third point is, a solid does not diffuse into another solid easily. Here I would like to explain the meaning of diffuse. So what is diffusion? Diffusion is the intermixing of particles of two substances on their own. So why the solids do not diffuse into another solid easily? The reason is intermolecular forces of attraction are very strong. Students, if you are listening carefully, then one thing that I had mentioned in point number 3 is that a solid does not diffuse into another solid easily. It means they can diffuse but not easily. It has been observed that if two metal blocks are tightly bound together and left undisturbed for few years, particles of one metal diffuse into other. So the fourth point is, a solid does not flow and can be stored in a container. This is because intermolecular forces of attraction is so strong that molecules do not flow and leave the surface of the solid. So students, do you know sponge is a solid and still we are able to compress it? Why? Think about it, students. Think. So the reason is, a sponge has minute holes in which air is trapped. When we press it, the air trapped in the pores comes out and we are able to compress it. So students, do you know sugar acquires the shape of the container in which it is kept, still it is called solid Why? Just think about it, students. The reason behind it is that the shape of each individual crystal of sugar remains fixed whether we take it in our hand, put in a plate, or in a jar. So students, do you know? Although the solids have fixed shape, yet the rubber band, which is solid, can change its shape under pressure. How this happens? Think about it, students. The reason behind it is that rubber band is a solid because it changes shape under force and regains its shape when this force is removed. Now let's start the topic liquid state. The spaces between the particles of liquids are larger than that exists in solids. Let's start with the characteristics of liquids. First point is a liquid has a definite volume. This is because intermolecular forces of attraction is just strong enough to confine the molecules in a definite shape. Second point is a liquid has no definite shape and acquires the shape of the container. This is because the intermolecular forces of attraction is weaker in a liquid than in a solid. Liquid molecules can move, slip over each other because their molecular separation is larger. The liquid acquires the shape of the container. Third point is a liquid has a surface. So students, just think what I'm saying. Intermolecular forces of attraction is weaker, but molecular speed is greater in a liquid than in a solid. Are you getting my point? The effect of attraction confines the molecules, whereas the effect of speed makes the molecule fly apart. So, the combined effect of these two factors is such that a liquid has a surface which depends on the shape of the container. Fourth point is a liquid is compressible. The reason is the distance between the neighboring molecules is larger in a liquid than in a solid. Fifth point is the liquids have the property to diffuse. The liquids have the property to diffuse due to large intermolecular spaces in liquids. So students, look carefully. This is an example of diffusion. Ink in water is an example of diffusion of ink in water. So students, do you know there is a dissolved oxygen in water? The aquatic plants and animals survive on this oxygen. Dissolved oxygen is an example of diffusion of gas in liquid. Now let's talk about gaseous state. In gases, the space between the particles are very large as compared to solids and liquids. Now let's talk about the characteristics of gases. First point is a gas does not have a definite volume, which means a gas takes the shape of the container in which it is introduced. For example, air is a gas and it has no definite shape. The shape of air depends on the shape of container in which it is introduced. If air is introduced into a round balloon, it takes the round shape of the balloon. And if air is introduced in a long balloon, then it takes the shape of the long balloon. So students, have I made my point clear? that a gas does not have a definite volume. So the second point is a gas can be compressed easily. For example, air is a gas which can be compressed into a small volume easily by applying pressure. In fact, a bicycle pump compresses air into a small volume. This compressed air fills the tube of the bicycle. So students, third point is a gas can flow easily. For example, air is a gas which can flow very easily from one place to another place, as you know very well. Fourth point is the density of gas is very low because the mass per unit volume of the gas is low. So students, fifth point is the particles of gas are in a state of constant motion. This means during their motion they collide with each other and with the walls of the container. So students, do you know the LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, and CNG, that is compressed natural gas, are the fuels that are based on the property of compressibility of gases? So students, what we have learned is that there are basically three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gases. And now we can compare them easily. Now students, this is not the end. Very interesting thing that I am going to discuss is that now scientists are talking about 5 states of matter, that is solids, liquid, gases, plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate. So let's talk about plasma. So this state consists of super energetic and super excited particles. These particles are in the form of ionized gases. Let me clear you the meaning of ionized gas. Ionized gas is made of particles which have lost one or more electrons. The fluorescent tube and neon sign bulbs consist of plasma. Inside a neon sign bulbs there is a neon gas, and inside a fluorescent tube there is a helium gas or some other gases. The gas gets ionized, that is, gets charged when electrical energy flows through it. This charging up creates glowing plasma inside the tube or bulb. The plasma glows with a very special color depending on the nature of the gas. The sun and the stars glow because of the presence of plasma in them. The plasma is created in stars because of very high temperature. Plasma is being used in many high-tech industries. It is used in making many microelectronic or electronic devices such as semiconductors. It can help make features on chips for the computers. Now let's talk about Bose-Einstein condensate. Albert Einstein predicted a new state of matter, the Bose-Einstein condensate. The BEC, that is Bose-Einstein condensate, is formed by cooling a gas of extremely low density, about 100,000th the density of normal air, to super lower temperatures. So students, this is all about the states of matter. Now there are some questions for you related to the topic. First question is, give reasons A gas fills completely the vessel in which it is kept. Second question. Difference between solids, liquids and gases. And third question is, a wooden table should be called a solid. Why? Thank you so much. Hope you liked this video. See you soon. Goodbye.